Compañeros y compañeras, hoy aquí está presente la fuerza del PSC.
Nos queda una última etapa en este camino que estamos recorriendo con la mayoría de los catalanes en defensa de la convivencia y de la política útil. Y quiero ser claro, compañeras y compañeros, quiero ser el próximo presidente de la Generalitat de Cataluña. ¿Por qué? Porque me agrada la Cataluña de todos y de todas.
Nuestro objetivo es seguir avanzando en derechos y en convivencia. ¿Cuál va a ser el método? El diálogo, con los sindicatos, con la patronal, con los territorios y con las fuerzas políticas para hacerlo posible. ¿Y cuál va a ser el marco? La Constitución española. Salva, me vas a tener como uno más para que seas el próximo presidente de la Generalitat de Cataluña. Así que feliz fiesta de la Rosa y a celebrarlo, compañeros y compañeras.
Catalunya, el país, la seva gent no falla. Falla el govern. Falla el seu govern, senyor Aragonès. I jo vi dic, amb tot el respecte, amb tota la cortesia i amb tota l'educació de què sóc capaç, però espero que ho entengui, li he de dir. No falla Catalunya, falla el seu govern. I no falla Catalunya perquè els catalans tenim clar on som i on anem. On som? Doncs amb la nostra pròpia identitat, la nostra voluntat de ser i de conviure, els catalans formem part d'Espanya. D'aquesta Espanya plural i diversa, l'Espanya real, que les darreres dècades, integrant-se a Europa, ha emprès un camí de reformes. Jo m'ofereixo per acordar aquests temes: la sanitat, l'educació, les infraestructures i la connectivitat, els recursos, el finançament i la millora de la vida. M'ofereixo per acordar tots aquests temes. Crec que són temes de país, que només podrem resoldre si els acordem amb el seu govern, però també amb totes les formacions polítiques d'aquest Parlament que s'hi vulguin sumar. I caldrà que tots cedim, perquè hi guanyem tots, sobretot perquè hi guanyi Catalunya.
Take your seat because we will start the closing ceremony. Can I ask you to take your seat, please? Everyone.
Compañeros y compañeras, hoy aquí está presente la fuerza del PSC.
Nos queda una última etapa en este camino que estamos recorriendo con la mayoría de los catalanes en defensa de la convivencia y de la política útil. Y quiero ser claro, compañeras y compañeros, quiero ser el próximo presidente de la Generalitat de Cataluña. ¿Por qué? Porque me agrada la Cataluña de todos y de todas.
Nuestro objetivo es seguir avanzando en derechos y en convivencia. ¿Cuál va a ser el método? El diálogo, con los sindicatos, con la patronal, con los territorios y con las fuerzas políticas para hacerlo posible. ¿Y cuál va a ser el marco? La Constitución española. Salva, me vas a tener como uno más para que seas el próximo presidente de la Generalitat de Cataluña. Así que feliz fiesta de la Rosa y a celebrarlo, compañeros y compañeras.
Catalunya, el país, la seva gent no falla. Falla el govern. Falla el seu govern, senyor Aragonès. I jo vi dic, amb tot el respecte, amb tota la cortesia i amb tota l'educació de què sóc capaç, però espero que ho entengui, li he de dir. No falla Catalunya, falla el seu govern. I no falla Catalunya perquè els catalans tenim clar on som i on anem. On som? Doncs amb la nostra pròpia identitat, la nostra voluntat de ser i de conviure, els catalans formem part d'Espanya. D'aquesta Espanya plural i diversa, l'Espanya real, que les darreres dècades, integrant-se a Europa, ha emprès un camí de reformes. Jo m'ofereixo per acordar aquests temes: la sanitat, l'educació, les infraestructures i la connectivitat, els recursos, el finançament i la millora de l'administració. M'ofereixo per acordar tots aquests temes. Crec que són temes de país, que només podrem resoldre si els acordem amb el seu govern, però també amb totes les formacions polítiques d'aquest Parlament que s'hi vulguin sumar. I caldrà que tots cedim, perquè hi guanyem tots, sobretot perquè hi guanyi Catalunya.
Comrades, we start now the closing ceremony, so I ask you to take your seat. Please, everyone, take your seat now, because we start the closing ceremony.
Compañeros y compañeras, hoy aquí está presente la fuerza del PSC.
Nos queda una última etapa en este camino que estamos recorriendo con la mayoría de los catalanes en defensa de la convivencia y de la política útil. Y quiero ser claro, compañeras y compañeros, quiero ser el próximo presidente de la Generalitat de Cataluña. Porque me agrada la Cataluña de todos y de todas.
Nuestro objetivo es seguir avanzando en derechos y en convivencia. ¿Cuál va a ser el método? El diálogo, con los sindicatos, con la patronal, con los territorios y con las fuerzas políticas para hacerlo posible. ¿Y cuál va a ser el marco? La Constitución española. Salva, me vas a tener como uno más para que seas el próximo presidente de la Generalitat de Cataluña. Así que feliz fiesta de la Rosa y a celebrarlo, compañeros y compañeras.
Catalunya, el país, la seva gent no falla. Falla el govern. Falla el seu govern, senyor Aragonès. I jo vi dic, amb tot el respecte, amb tota la cortesia i amb tota l'educació de què sóc capaç, però espero que ho entengui, li he de dir. No falla Catalunya, falla el seu govern. I no falla Catalunya perquè els catalans tenim clar on som i on anem. On som? Doncs amb la nostra pròpia identitat, la nostra voluntat de ser i de conviure, els catalans formem part d'Espanya. D'aquesta Espanya plural i diversa, l'Espanya real, que les darreres dècades, integrant-se a Europa, ha emprès un camí de reformes. Jo m'ofereixo per acordar aquests temes: la sanitat, l'educació, les infraestructures i la connectivitat, els recursos, el finançament i la millora de l'administració. M'ofereixo per acordar tots aquests temes. Crec que són temes de país, que només podrem resoldre si les acordem amb el seu govern, però també amb totes les formacions polítiques d'aquest Parlament que s'hi vulguin sumar. I caldrà que tots cedim, perquè hi guanyem tots, sobretot perquè hi guanyi Catalunya.
Dear comrades, I ask you to take your seats because now we start. So please.
Compañeros y compañeras, hoy aquí está presente la fuerza del PSC.
Nos queda una última etapa en este camino que estamos recorriendo con la mayoría de los catalanes en defensa de la convivencia y de la política útil. Y quiero ser claro, compañeras y compañeros, quiero ser el próximo president de la Generalitat de Catalunya. Porque me agrada la Cataluña de todos y de todas.
Nuestro objetivo es seguir avanzando en derechos y en convivencia. ¿Cuál va a ser el método? El diálogo, con los sindicatos, con la patronal, con los territorios y con las fuerzas políticas para hacerlo posible. ¿Y cuál va a ser el marco? La Constitución española. Salva, me vas a tener como uno más para que seas el próximo presidente de la Generalitat de Cataluña. Así que feliz fiesta de la Rosa y a celebrarlo, compañeros y compañeras.
Very warm welcome to everyone at the closing ceremony of the 16th Yes Congress in Barcelona. Distinguished guests, members of different parliaments, members of the European Parliament, party leaders, secretary generals, delegates. I hope you will enjoy this closing ceremony. And before we start with the different speeches, let me call the elected officials of the Yes who has been elected today. So I will start to call them, and they will just come to the stage to be with us. And we are just waiting for a music for that. So, Pearl Agios. Cecilia Ryaszczemka, Roy Dalsgaard, Pablo Moreno, João Martins Pereira, Rashid Kenissi, Carlo Vedak, Kristina Stepanovic, Inés João Rodriguez, Evelyn Logge, Alexandra Ivanovska, Alberto Bortolotti, Christopher Lindvall, Anna Kivimaki, Flora Felix, Sophie Amélie Stage. Enrique López Jurado. So, let me wish once again the best luck on behalf of the Congress chairs to all the elected officials of YES, especially for the President, Secretary General, and the Control Commission President, who will take the most of the responsibility, as well as for the Vice President and Control Commission members with very important role in the organization to make it work and functioning. And with this, we are arriving to the speeches of the closing ceremony. First, I would like to give the floor for past presidency member, who is also member of the European Parliament, Javi Lopez. The floor is yours.
Today, let's combine languages. I think it will be better for this fantastic public that we have here. First of all, thank you very much to everybody that is together here in this gathering, accompanying us, members of the Parliament, the members of the Party of the European Socialists, especially Giacomo. Thank you for being here. Hannah, member of the board of PSOE, members of the European Parliament that I see here, members of the Catalan Parliament, and obviously our special guest today, Eli. For us, it's a pleasure and an honor that you are here in Barcelona accompanying us and working together, especially that now you are re-energizing the PD in Italy and fighting against far right. And obviously the leader of our party, Salvador Illa, who was the manager of the pandemic in Spain and one of the most prominent figures of the Spanish socialism, who won the last Catalan elections and who is ready to be the next president of Catalonia. Well, I will want to say a couple of things. First of all, for me it's special to be here today for several reasons. Because, well, it's a YES Congress. Nice. I have been working for the youth movements like a lot of people that is here in the front line. for several years. And during my time in the youth movement, we decided to join YES as a full member organization. I'm really happy that now we are here, you are here as an organization. And not only because I really believe in the work that you do, also because Congresses are special moments for organizations, because it's time of debate, the debate that make us free, time for ideas that make us powerful, and time for organization that make us strong and stronger, something that we need. And doing this here in Barcelona with a new socialist mayor, after 12 years without a socialist mayor, Jaume Collboni, who is leading again the transformation of this city, after 30 years of socialist mayors in our recent history in Catalonia, with a strong socialist party, close to the 40% in the last Spanish elections, and one of the engines of the results of the Socialist Party of Spain, and do it here in Spain also, obviously, with a government that we feel especially proud that was leading the transformation in Europe and having a better Spain during the last 5 years. And it's not only special for this, also it's special for the new board that you select today, with Enric as a president and the new board that I will want to congratulate. Enric Lopez, as you know, comes from Barcelona, but I will want to explain you something more. He comes from Nou Barris, okay? Probably the people that it's here across Europe, I will want to explain something about Nou Barris, this neighborhood. It's a neighborhood from the north of Barcelona, popular neighborhood, that always we have very good results. Well, it's really collective behavior in the neighborhood, always. It was like that, full of histories of fights for collective reasons. And in the north of the city, in the 70s and the 80s, they didn't have public buses, okay? And what the leaders of the neighborhood made during years is like go to the center of the city and kidnap buses and go driving to the Nou Barris to say, okay, you see, it's possible that they can arrive here. And for me, it's nice to think that one of the grandchildren of these fights now leads the Young Socialist of Europe, Enric, who is a brilliant guy that you have in front of the organization and represents really well the old battles of our movement and the new battles of our movement. Thank you very much. And this is my first message. And my second message is, we need you. We need you for the battle that is coming the next year. We need you because in the next year we will decide a lot of things about the health and the situation of the democracies in the world. We will have 2 key elections. We will have elections in America. We will discuss it another day about this, but it will be key elections for the democracy and the world, and a key elections for Europe. Well, we will decide a lot of things, but we will decide in these elections that this election will be more than 1 day with ballots. It will be a battle of months of ideas. We will decide 3 things. First, if we consolidate the change that we made during the 5 years in Europe, and a Europe that is pushing for a green agenda, that the new generations, you are the protagonist with the European Green Deal, that Europe that made a different answer of the pandemic with a plan of investment and so on, and Europe that was not sending guys of the Troika to control the budgets, a Europe that was sending vaccines, controlling the pandemic. This was the Europe that we had during the 5 years, and it was different than the previous one. We will decide if we consolidate these changes. Secondly, it will be a huge battle against the far right across Europe that we see now in Italy, but not only in Italy. We see it in Hungary, we see it everywhere, in regional governments here in Spain. And it's not a classical battle against conservatives. This is another story, what we have now. Because like this far right, if we should write again like the Human Rights Declaration, they will not endorse it. This is the kind of people that we have now in front of us. They will not endorse it. It's a fight for protect the enlightening. The principal ideas against discrimination, freedom, tolerance. This is the battle that we have. And not only with the far right, the problem is part of the classical conservatives. They are now buying and sharing this agenda of the far right. And this is the most toxic thing that is happening in our democracies. And third, it will be a battle for decide if we want a global Europe, because we need a global Europe, a voice in the world, a world full of problems. And I will want to end here. The world needs the voice of Europe, a voice that's based in values, that it's based in the respect of human rights, it's based in the respect of the international order. And now that we have confrontations, conflicts, it's time to be equal. And it's time to use our voice, the voice of Europe that we didn't during the last weeks, to say that the pain and the crime could be done by all the actors, and we will be equal with all. What is having now in Israel and Palestine, the escalation of regional violence that we are seeing, what happened in Nagorno-Karabakh and Armenia, it's a turning point for the region and could be for the world. And Europe needs to act. Y para eso, para esta batalla, es muy importante para consolidar los cambios en Europa, para luchar contra la extrema derecha y para tener una voz de Europa en el mundo, el nuevo gobierno de España. Y con esto quiero acabar. Hemos tenido hoy al presidente Pedro Sánchez en el Cairo, defendiendo la posición de Europa, ahora presidiendo el Consejo Europeo, la voz de Europa que llama por la paz, por una respuesta humanitaria, por el respeto al derecho internacional, por la solidaridad con las víctimas, por la condena del terrorismo, sin paliativos, pero por la solidaridad de las víctimas, todas, vengan de donde vengan, tengan la nacionalidad que tengan, tengan el color de piel que tengan. Y para nosotros es muy, muy importante la conformación del nuevo gobierno. Yo lo veo en Bruselas, estaba recientemente Salvador Illa con nosotros haciendo reuniones con miembros de la Comisión Europea. Es fundamental para Europa y la conformación de este nuevo gobierno para continuar liderando los cambios que necesita. Así que muchísimas gracias, bienvenidos a Barcelona.
Now I would like to call President of UC, Hent Gayet, to the stage. Hent, please.
Hello. Glad to be here today and taking part to the closing session of this Congress. So with the presence of young leader across Europe, the leader of our socialist family and the MPs. So I would like first to express my gratitude to Alicia, Eric, Anna, Sophie and Bruno for their tireless efforts over the years on fostering stronger cooperation and among young socialist activists in both Europe and across the globe. Also, a special thanks to GS Catalonia and GS Spain for their special dedication in hosting this pivotal event, solidifying their roles as key players in shaping the future of Europe. Congratulations to the new elected board, So I'm confident that we are work together, USI and DS, to forge more integrated strategy and deepen cooperation with the Mediterranean region, with Africa, and we must acknowledge the pivotal role of this new generation that will play to addressing international challenges. So to the new leadership, to the delegation that they are present here, I would like to take this opportunity to emphasize few crucial points. Four. So the first one is the next democratic challenge. So we are aware about the upcoming European election and the multitude challenge that we are facing, populism, economic crisis, the war in Ukraine, and stability in West countries. And rest assured that we are here to offer our support through our member organization, through the leadership to ensure robust, inclusive and active strategy for this pivotal event that will greatly influence the future of all socialist and democratic group in Europe. The second thing is about ensuring and tackling the social challenges. We are confronted with multitude of challenges that demand our attention. It's imperative that we become more actively involved and offering fresh perspective and innovative solutions to promote social progress, to advocate for new social contracts, and to effectively address the migration challenges. The third point is about energetic transition. We can't have a social progress without a relevant, dynamic energetic transition in Europe. We must be aware about the necessity of developing a new policy and engage in profound reflection for a just transition that leaves no one behind. And at the end, I would like to address the most important point, which is about the global political instability. As young activists from various countries, we shouldn't underestimate the significance of fostering political stability worldwide. This effect of instability can disturb all our plans. Therefore, so let us lead the culture of peace and advocate for structured and effective dialogue and advocate for upholding of international laws. Our main fight is to denounce acts of violence, to protect civilians, and to promote empathy and solidarity across the world. And also, even in the moment of tensions, let us not forget the basic principle that unite us, and unite all of us as socialists. All life matters. Our action and decision today will shape the trajectory of our shared future. Let us stand united in our commitment to creating a world more equal, inclusive, and forward-looking. Together, we have the power to affect a meaningful change, not only in Europe, but only on the globe. Thank you.
Now I would like to call Executive Secretary General of Party of European Socialists, Giacomo Filibeck, on the stage. Please, Giacomo.
Buona tarda. Comrades and friends, first of all, I would like to express my greetings and congratulations to the outgoing leadership of YES, to Alicia Holmes, her presidium, for having organized a constructive and fruitful Congress that has been extremely important to my memory as former president of ECOSY, the Young European Socialists. I think it was a while that things were not organized in that clean and peaceful way. So, brava Alicia. Then I would obviously like to congratulate the newly elected leadership of YES. With Sophie as SecGen, we already have had the chance to get to know each other and to work together in the headquarters of PES in Brussels. And to Eric, moltes felicidades. You are now in charge as a new president, and for you I have a very particular message. You have a challenging road ahead of you to keep up with a specific legacy. As a former president, I could underline what this entails, but I'm not referring only to this now. What I mean is that now you are joining the ranks of the Party of European Socialists, when in the past recent years, we have had some very key players coming, like you, from Catalonia. I refer in particular to two pillars of our cooperation on PES, like the two members of the European Parliament, Laura Ballarin and Javi Lopez. So, not only you will have to represent at best the youth movement of our family, but you will also have to make sure that the so-called Catalan component of the European socialism keep being as excellent as it has been so far. Again, multa felicidades. Speaking of Catalonian, we need to congratulate Salvatore Illa for the historical results of the last elections in July. And speaking of the last elections in July, we must pay all our respects on behalf of the Party of European Socialists for the bold leadership of Pedro Sánchez. Having managed to avoid a right and ultra-right governing coalition in Spain is first and foremost his success and his bold intuition to go right away into snap elections. I would like to ask nuestra compañera, the International Secretary of PSOE, Hannah Jalloul, to convey all our support to him for the difficult negotiations he's leading in these very hours. We are all with him. Forza Pedro. I have now few main messages that I would like to share with you tonight. Some are more political and maybe at the end one more personal. The very first one is about the role that the Young European Socialists play in our family. It is the role of pushing our whole movement always one step further. And I would like to give a specific example. In 2008, PES celebrated its Congress ahead of the European elections in 2009, precisely here in Spain. It was Madrid. The Young European Socialists were part of the Congress and were on the forefront proposing the creation of the system of the common candidate for the European political families. We said it's time that we place our face for the leadership of the presidency of the Commission so that all citizens and all voters of socialist parties can identify what they're voting for. We didn't manage. PES at that time resisted a bit. 2009 happened. The election didn't go as well as they were expecting. And in the Congress of the party following the elections of 2009, it was decided unanimously that the Party of European Socialists would have had the common candidate as an integral part of its statutes. And since that moment on, here we are. I repeat, the year before, it was the Young European Socialists that were asking for it. We were doing this because we said we wanted more participation, more inclusivity, in a nutshell, in a word, more democracy. Now, I believe that you're doing exactly the same with the adopted motion in this Congress when you are encouraging EU member states to lower to 16 years old the voting age in European elections. And even if at PES today we may not have yet full consensus on this move, I think that it is exactly right that you push us towards that road, and that you do it because you want to believe that more democracy, more participation, more inclusivity, especially of the younger generation, will make Europe stronger. And for this, we thank you. We will need you to mobilize, to attract young voters, especially the first-time ones. These upcoming EU elections are happening in an extremely challenging context, Xavi Lopez said it very well already, so I'm not going to repeat all the issues that are in front of us. The aftermath of the pandemics, the rising inflation, the increase of the cost of living, the ongoing war in Ukraine, and the current tragic crisis in the Middle East are making the next months a crucial phase to define the role that the European Union must play for its citizens and also in the international context. On what happened in Israel a few days ago, I want to reiterate our strongest condemnation for the terrorist attacks led by Hamas against the Israeli population. I want also to reiterate that Israel has the full right to defend itself. And I also want to reiterate the message of the High Representative of the European Union and express my gratitude to him, to Josep Borrell, for his words in this specific moment. We believe in international and humanitarian right, law. Every member of the international community should be respectful of that, Israel included. The Young European Socialists, together with Yusi, I want to say hi to the President and to the Secretary General Bruno for their work at the international level. Together, back in the days in my time, and were two platforms where we were able to bring together young Palestinians and young Israeli to have a genuine dialogue. I believe that this is still the role that the European and international socialist, social democratic, progressive family can play to allow dialogue between parties that are in conflict in order to reach a potential hoped peace. We believe in the solution of the two people, two states. We believe in Israel having their full right to live in security and the Palestinians to live in freedom and to build their own destiny. And I want to believe that you will continue not to lose this hope in your work and that you will continue to dedicate yourself to peace through dialogue. You have therefore a fundamental role to play for the success of our family, and this is recognized by many leaders of our movement. You will see videos from very important players of our family, and I am particularly happy that you have a national leader that is coming from another country to the Congress of the Young European Socialists. And it happens to be my own party leader, Eli Schlein. And believe me, this didn't happen back in the days of my time. So it must be a sign of your clearly growing relevance. On a personal note, and I conclude, it is to all of you, to all the delegates, to the members of the different member organization of YES. Since I've been walking in your shoes some time ago, I think I can allow myself to at least tell what it has meant to me. You are not only here to change the world, which is the very most important thing that is obviously leading you in your political dedication and your political commitment. But in fact, you are also here to change your own life. This is a journey that you don't know how it will end. You know how you are starting it, but you don't know how it will end. Many things can happen. You will forge friendship, alliances, you will create respect, you will create connections that will last a lifetime. I can see here among the people that are in this room, somebody like Francisco André, which is today Secretary of State in Portugal. It's a vice president of the European Socialist Party, and it was a vice president in our presidium 20 years ago, a bit less than 20 years ago. I see Brando Benifei, who was probably became vice president after I left the leadership of ECOSI at the time in 2009. And as a proud founder of Giovani Democratici, I'm very happy that Alberto is now included, elected in the leadership of the new presidium. But most importantly, my partner in life, in crime as well, because my life is a bit challenging sometimes. I met her at the ECOSI summer camp in Figueira da Foz in 2005, again organized by that terrible person that is Francisco André, and it is almost 20 years that we are together. You cannot know what will happen in your life, but believe me, life in the Young European Socialist will make it an incredible experience, and you will carry it forever with you.
Thank you, Giacomo, for this inspiring speech. It's always nice to listen veterans from this very organization. And with this, we will have a video message from the President of the Congress of Deputies of Spain, Francina Armengol.
Buenas tardes y muchísimas gracias por dejarme participar de la clausura de este 16º Congreso de la YES. Es muy importante el papel de la gente joven en la toma de decisiones políticas. Yo soy muy consciente de la necesidad de organizaciones políticas juveniles. De hecho, yo procedo de Juventudes Socialistas de España y el valor de la palabra de los jóvenes, del compromiso, de la valentía, de la decisión, de la toma de conciencia sobre los problemas de presente y de futuro y poder escuchar vuestra voz es absolutamente fundamental para tomar las mejores decisiones. Además, en momentos como los que vivimos, en un momento en donde Europa y el mundo tienen retos no solo de futuro, sino ya de presente acuciante. Obviamente las desigualdades que todavía siguen existiendo, la inequidad que existe entre ciudadanos y ciudadanas de toda Europa y de todo el mundo, los retos para parar los conflictos bélicos y conseguir la paz tan deseada en todo el mundo, la situación emergente de una cuestión que es para nosotros ya de presente más inmediato, que es la emergencia climática, cómo luchamos para conseguir adaptarnos a esa realidad, porque no tenemos un planeta B y en eso los jóvenes sois absolutamente fundamentales. Una sociedad que queremos seguir construyendo desde la igualdad de oportunidades para todas y para todas, de una forma especial conseguir la igualdad real entre hombres y mujeres y poder terminar con esa lacra terrible que seguimos padeciendo, que es la violencia machista. Se nos sigue matando por el hecho de ser mujeres y ahí los jóvenes sois absolutamente fundamentales, alzando la voz para seguir construyendo una Europa que tenga los valores por los que nació, los valores de los derechos, de la ética, los valores de la justicia social. Y ahí hay un problema grave, que es la subida del populismo de la extrema derecha que desde dentro quiere destruir a la propia Europa. Por eso vuestra voz, la voz de Juventudes Socialistas Europeas, es absolutamente fundamental. Yo os quiero agradecer muchísimo este Congreso, os quiero agradecer muchísimo vuestro compromiso, quiero agradecer muchísimo a la compañera y amiga Alicia Oms todo el trabajo con ella, con su equipo que han hecho durante estos últimos tiempos, un trabajo magnífico que conozco perfectamente. Y quiero desear la mejor de las suertes a Enrique López y a su nuevo equipo para los tiempos que vienen de futuro. Vuestra suerte, vuestros aciertos será la suerte y los aciertos de Europa. Muchísimas gracias y enhorabuena.
We will have another video message from the President of SD Denmark, who is the Prime Minister of Denmark, Mette Frederiksen.
Dear young European socialists, on behalf of the Danish Social Democratic Party, I send you our warmest greetings. And I congratulate the new YES leadership and my fellow Dane, elected Secretary General Sofie Amalie Stage. For us Social Democrats of Europe, important tasks lie ahead. Looking into the future of Europe, I have great faith in you, the young generation, but my generation must and will do our part as well. As Social Democrats, we can and must provide progressive and fair solutions to the main challenges that are in front of us. The climate change calls for an urgent green transition. The digital revolution requires new democratic ground rules. And rising inequality and insecurity around the world is causing suffering and increasing migration flows. And once again, we are facing a war on European soil. an unprovoked and unacceptable attack on a democratic, free and peaceful Ukraine. But it is also an attack on all of Europe and on our values. None of these difficult challenges can be tackled by any single nation. They require, all of them, political action and binding international cooperation. We Social Democrats of Europe and around the globe must stand united and take the lead to protect and to promote our common values, because there are strong forces in the world currently challenging these values and the basic international ground rules. We cannot accept this. We need Europe to stand even more united, to become more equal, more democratic and cohesive, to speed up the global green transition, and to step up on the global stage and fight for what we believe in. Now more than ever, it is up to us, Social Democrats, to demonstrate how social justice, economic reason, and green ambitions go hand in hand. Next year, European citizens will cast their votes for the European Parliament elections. We have to make sure that their concerns are properly addressed to ensure a strong social democratic voice in the Parliament. Our goal has always been to improve the lives of ordinary citizens, to leave no one behind. We must and will continue to provide real solutions to the real issues faced by ordinary Europeans, to provide common solutions to common challenges. On this note, my dear young comrades, I wish you a great Congress.
The next video message is from the Secretary General of PSOE, who is also the Prime Minister of Spain, Pedro Sánchez.
Dear friends, dear comrades, you, the young European socialists, embody the commitment to the great causes of our times. The causes that mark not only the present, but the future of young people, fairer working conditions, the defense of sustainability, or the fight against climate change. From the Spanish government, we have promoted many actions to support young people in recent years. Scholarship, free public transport, a cultural bonus, or policies to help buy or rent a home. You can count on me in the fight for equality, feminism, democratic values, and the full support to the 2030 Agenda and the Sustainable Development Goals. And now, more than ever, I am with you in the defense of peace and multilateralism. We must show full solidarity with countries that have suffered recently terrible natural disasters such as Libya, Morocco, or Afghanistan, or with those now suffering an illegal war of aggression like Ukraine. We must also make a difference between Hamas and the people of Palestine. And I want to be clear. We condemn in the strongest possible terms the terrorist attack committed by Hamas against Israel. All hostages must be released immediately and without conditions. And we recognize Israel's right to defend itself within the limits set by international law and international humanitarian law. But with the same strength, we also call upon the protection of civilians and innocent people, as well as the access of international aid for the people of Palestine. Humanitarian aid must enter Gaza immediately. Dear friends, dear comrade, as President of the Socialist International, I am sure that you have had a very fruitful Congress. Thank you, Alicia, Sophie, Amélie, and the entire team for the wonderful work you have done, and my best wishes for the new team. Congratulations, Enrique, on your election as a new president. You will always find all the support of the PSOE and the Socialist International. Gracias. Bye-bye.
Now I would like to call Party Secretary of Partito Democratico Italy, Eli Schlein, to the stage, please.
Dear comrades and dear friends, queridos compañeros y compañeras, estoy muy feliz y honorada de estar aquí con ustedes y quiero continuar en inglés para todas las amigas y los amigos que vienen de toda Europa. I am particularly delighted and honored to be here with you today for your Congress, and I wanted to be here to express my strong encouragement to the whole organization, to the new leadership and presidency of YES, which begins today its new mandate. So make some noise for Enrique and Sophie and all the others. We really need all your courage, all your energy and competences for the crucial challenges we face for our common future as Europeans. And I have to say, I'm even happier to do it from here in Barcelona at a moment of historic importance for the destiny of Spain and the whole of Europe, which needs, as never before, a strong, progressive government led by Pedro Sánchez. To continue inspiring us as European socialists, this is even more important for us Italians, since we are opposing a government of extreme right and its terrible policies against the most vulnerable. Allow me to express my satisfaction to be here with Catalan Socialist Party and Salvador Illa. I want to praise and highlight your party's crucial role for promoting the rule of law, dialogue and coexistence, starting from here in Catalonia. And from Barcelona, I also want to express a word to greet the Italian comrades that live here. You know that the Italian community is the largest community here in Barcelona. We need voices of dialogue and coexistence today. Indeed, the difficult international situation makes it even more necessary today. And we have a vital need to strengthen the political spaces in which we can imagine solutions for a fairer, more democratic world, where relations are not based on violence and war, but on peace, but on international cooperation, respect. And we have to be the voice that pushes in this direction, to raise our voices as progressive, as socialists throughout Europe, in a fast-changing world, trying to keep in mind our values, our common history, the reason that drive us every day to refuse indifference and engage in politics on a daily basis, on the ground, among our citizens, among young people. It is we who strive every day to explain why a more just and peaceful world can have an impact in improving daily life of all our citizens. This is what you also rightly write in your manifesto, that the YES has introduced with this quote: the goal to become more and more a united democratic community based on and globally active for individual and collective human rights and freedoms. I fully share what you have highlighted in your political document. As ours as it has been for many European citizens, if you think about all the multiple crises that have affected us in the last few years, the economic crisis, the climate emergency, the pandemic, and also the return of wars, they all demand a more united European Union and have clarified once more that transnational threats can only be managed through stronger common institutions and common European answers. I am a convinced European federalist because I think that the biggest challenges of our future cannot be solved anymore within our narrow nationalist border. That's true. So, fighting inequalities, fighting climate change, you heard Mette, managing migration, redistributing the benefits of innovation, and ensuring better life conditions to all people. In front of global phenomena, we need at least European solutions. It's quite obvious, though, that the European Union that we know today is not the one that was in mind of some of our founding mothers and fathers. It's not yet the one shaped in the famous Manifesto of Ventotene, written by young anti-fascists in exile on a small island, Altiero Spinelli, Eugenio Colorni, Ada ed Ernesto Rossi, and Ursula Hirschman. They were there, facing the deprivation of freedom by the fascist regime, but decided not to give up to hatred, and not to answer with more hatred, but instead with a dream of a more united union, a federal union, because they knew that nationalism, and we see it today in our Europe, nationalism only brings to war in our continent, and we have to fight nationalism. They imagine a union of openness and solidarity, of equal rights and more opportunities for the new generation, but too often it has not been like that. We have to be serious on this. We have to be clear on this. We must do whatever we can to bring on and complete that project that got stuck into the national selfishness of the governments that are extremely jealous of their competences and because of the lack of political will to do the union for real. That's the point. And this is the starting point to launch also our next European election campaign. We look around the world and we see global injustice, instability, social uncertainties, and the weakening of our democracies. And I think that still the European Union is an example in the world. And the world needs, as you say in your manifesto again, a stronger EU, a EU where we are the voice that is not afraid to point out the unfinished projects, the shortcomings, even the mistakes of the recent years. And we are on the eve of opening the next campaign for the European election, and today's Congress marks an important step to motivate all of us for the campaign and to remind the path that we have ahead with all the Party of European Socialists, the commitment we will bring with all our sister parties. There can be no future for Europe without a greater integration based on a fair and green recovery, on a vision of peace and social justice, and without a real involvement of the younger generation. I want to be very serious on this. We will not give up that dream. We will not give up that promise, because we deserve that union. And we are the generation that have the responsibility to complete that project. The forthcoming European elections are therefore of crucial importance. And in that campaign, I think we have to focus on social and environmental justice, because it's the same fight, you know very well. Dignified jobs, fighting inequalities, against the selfish face of those who want to create walls in Europe, deny solidarity. It is precisely from the rejection of that nationalism and its harmful consequences that we have to start again. There is a common threat. It's true. You talked about it also, Giacomo, about, for example, the war in Ukraine. We will continue to stand with Ukrainian people against Putin's criminal war. We have also to relaunch multilateralism. And we have, from the very start, said that we are on Ukraine's side. We defend the idea of international coexistence based on international law, on peace between people. And for this same reason, alongside with the necessary support to Ukraine, we must call to explore every possible political solution to put an end to the wars and to the conflicts. I agree with what Pedro Sanchez was just saying. We need a stronger political and diplomatic role of the EU with a strong and common voice to be able to have a positive impact in the global scenario and put an end to the conflicts. We are all following the developments in the Middle East with great concern. As Partito Democratico, we immediately condemned the Hamas terrorist attacks in solidarity with Israeli people. Over 1,000 citizens killed in a single day, one of the most brutal episodes of violence of the last 50 years. At the same time, we asked to release all hostages without condition. But again, I agree with Pedro. We do not want to mourn any more innocent victim. International law has to be respected, and has to be respected by Israel as well. We need to avoid a humanitarian catastrophe, to stop the escalation of this conflict. And we called together with Secretary General Antonio Guterres for a humanitarian ceasefire and to allow access for humanitarian aid to the population of Gaza. Saying that Hamas and the population of Gaza are the same would be a mistake and an incredible favor to Hamas. We have to isolate Hamas. in the population of Gaza and in all the region. That's the way that we have to use diplomacy, because we still believe in a solution for peace, the solution of two people and two states, and it must be the solution that we continue to pursue together. This is the time to fight for the Europe we want, as I said. The right wing wants a weaker Europe. We want a more social Europe with a better welfare, health, and labor conditions. A Europe of the many and not for the few. A union that delivers for the most vulnerable parts of our society, that is closer to the needs of poor people, of working poors. A Europe that boldly continues with programs like the Next Generation EU, the most important common investment plan in Europe's history, to accompany the digital transformation and the ecological transition that we desperately need to find a balance with the planet that we are destroying. The conservatives and nationalists are already trying to cancel these steps forward, and we'll have to fight for our future and to defend this path. We need to fight for a Green Deal with a red heart. That's the point, to try to not leave anyone behind in the ecological transition that we need. All the economy, agriculture, industries, invest in innovation, invest in competences, invest in research, and try to invest also in reducing greenhouse gas emission with renewable energies, with sustainable mobility, with green economy. There is no planet B, and we do not own this planet. We have to give it back to the next generation and make it livable again for them. A Europe of solidarity, let me say from Italy. You know that many people are still dying in the Mediterranean Sea. Last year, 5 member states over 27 have dealt alone with 85% of all the asylum requests presented in the whole European Union. This is not the European solidarity that is foreseen by the European treaties. We have to fight for European solidarity to overcome the injustice of the Dublin regulation. We have to open up safe and legal ways for people who ask for asylum to all European member states. I want to send a message from here with you to Mr. Orban. You cannot want only the benefits of belonging to a greater union if you don't share the consequences that come with it. It's clear. And please join us in the fight for having a European institutional mission of search and rescue at sea to avoid more deaths in the Mediterranean, because Europe was not built to build new walls, but new hopes. A Europe without tax havens, because we still have 27 different fiscal systems and it's too easy to avoid taxation. We should stop the race to the bottom of the member states. Let me say just simply, to fight inequalities, we start from transparency, and taxes should be paid where profits are made, not where they choose agreements with governments of the member states. I thank you for this opportunity, and this is the message that I want to leave to your Congress and the work we have ahead. This is what is at stake in the next European election. Please, we should not leave internationalism to the nationalists, because they are trying to strengthen each other with the same rhetoric of hatred, intolerance, walls, a rhetoric with a lot of contradictions, because in the end, there would be enemies on the opposite sides of the wall they want to build. That's clear. But we have to point out that contradiction, and we have to work together more closely, because we have much more in common, more values, a vision of the future. So we have to stick together and show that we are a family. What Pedro Sanchez did here in raising minimum wages and fighting precarious jobs should strengthen our fight in Italy to introduce minimum wages, where the right-wing government is doing every effort to stop our proposal. And what was done by the progressive in Poland against the right-wing attacks to women's rights on their body should be inspirational for all of us. So let's stick together and let's show that we are, for real, a family with the same vision for improving the lives of the people and the planet. Social and climate justice are two sides of the same fight, because you know who is paying the highest price of climate emergency: the poorest people in our societies and the poorest countries in the world. So comrades, let us be ready for the European campaign. We know what we are facing on the other side. We know them: a reactionary populist right with authoritarian and supremacist nature, which blows on fear and anger. They don't provide and deliver solution to the concrete problems of our citizens every day. They don't need solution. You know why? Because they offer something easier: a scapegoat, an enemy every day, and it's always a different person: a migrant, LGBTQI communities, emancipated women, green activists. We stand with them, and we will continue to defend their fundamental rights. This means defending democracy. Democracy must never be taken for granted. It must be conquered and defended day by day, as was the idea of our former president of the European Parliament, our beloved David Sassoli, that I want to remember with all of you. I conclude with an appeal to your generation, to our generation, and also those after. Let's not give up this dream and the promise of a Europe of more opportunities for the new generation. We have to work to intensify and relaunch the European project, and it is from here, from your Congress as young European socialists, that we must call upon the next generation EU. We must discuss with them and own the future together with them. I join you in asking that young people's voices will be heard not only from the outside of the institution, but also inside the institution. And this means that our parties, starting from the one I'm leading, have to keep space and open up the windows and the doors for young people, also in the list for the next European elections. As I said, we have the double responsibility to end, to complete this project, and I see in front of me, in your eyes, the hope of a new Europe. Your commitment, your political passion. There is a lot of paternalismo, I don't know the word in English, paternalismo, in the way in which politics looks to the new generation. But we had enough of that, isn't it true? We had enough of that. How many people line up to tell you if you are adequate or not for politics, especially if you're young, especially if you're a woman, especially if you're from the LGBTQI community, especially if you're a progressive. So my message would be, don't listen to them. Take your space, raise your voice, because it's your time, it's our time to make a change for Europe. Good luck.
And now I would like to call Salvador Illa, PSF First Secretary and the leader of the opposition in Catalonia. Please, floor is yours.
Buenas tardes. May my first was to welcome you to the house of the Catalan Socialist Party, Partit Socialista de Catalunya. It's not only a special event for us to welcome you here, It's also an opportunity to reaffirm our openness, our will to have strong ties with all the European socialist family, and thank you for choosing Barcelona, Enric, to make your Congress. Welcome to Barcelona. Thank you, Eli, for your energizing leadership, for sharing our ideas, for being here also in Barcelona. Thank you, Giacomo, also for your job at the European Socialist Party. And thank you for referring to the Catalan community at Europe. We are very proud of the job of Laura and Javi and of other Catalan members in Europe. Bienvenida a Hanna Jalul también por estar aquí con nosotros y Eva Granados en nombre del Partido Socialista Obrero Español. And also I would like to congratulate the delegates and the chosen committee, and especially Enric López. Es un honor para los socialistas catalanes que Enric López, nacido y formado políticamente en Nou Barris, pues asuma el liderazgo del Partido Socialista, de la Juventud Socialista Europea. Es un honor y también un signo de la implicación de los socialistas catalanes y españoles con el movimiento socialista. Y es también un honor para los socialistas catalanes y españoles el comportamiento, la actitud, la posición política de Pedro Sánchez y de Josep Borrell en este terrible conflicto que estamos viviendo en Israel y en Gaza. Qué honor ver a un socialista catalán, a un compañero del PSC, Josep Borrell, defender con igual claridad y contundencia la condena más rotunda a los ataques terroristas, pero también la necesidad de defenderse por parte de los que sufren estos ataques, en este caso Israel, en el marco del derecho humanitario y del derecho internacional. Y que también orgullo sentimos los socialistas catalanes y españoles viendo cómo el presidente del Gobierno, Pedro Sánchez, en función además de presidente del Consejo de Europa, pues se implica activamente en nombre de Europa para encauzar esta situación, y qué orgullo sentimos cuando vemos que hoy, hace pocas horas, por primera vez, la ayuda humanitaria entra en Gaza. I would like briefly to share with you some of my thoughts at the closing ceremony of this Youth European Socialist Party Congress. First of all, to refer with you on the context in which we act politically. A context very special. Some hours ago, President Joe Biden talked about an inflection point in history. Last year, Chancellor Olaf Scholz referred to a Zeitenwende. Some months ago, Emmanuel Macron talked about a turning point, a tournant historique. Pedro Sánchez has been talking about cambios estructurales, or even Ursula von der Leyen in the last State of the Union address talked about a call of history. This is a big change on the ground that I refer to at least 4 axes. First of all, a geopolitical axis. Western countries versus Far East countries. Different conception of how to organize our political life. With hotspots, with wars in Ukraine, in Israel and Gaza, with unrest, deep unrest in Sahel, with deep unrest in Taiwan, a big geopolitical change, confronting blocs again. There is also another axis, an economical axis. Eli referred to this axis. I think it's the mainstream academic has clearly stated that the capitalism of the last 40 years has failed. This is why we had a great recession in 2008. And we are in the way of constructing, of building a new form of capitalism, a more inclusive capitalism that shares prosperity with ordinary people. This is why, as Evi pointed out, we need a new fiscality. This is why we need to stop this race to the bottom on fiscal approaches. We need a new contract, social contract. But there is also an environmental axis. We are putting at risk the image of our common house, the planet. This is why we need to push to stop the climate change. This is why it's so important at the European level about the job you are doing, Javi, with the Green Deal. But there is a fourth axis, a technological change. The chips of today are the steam machine of the 18th century. There is a change underway of similar proportions of the Industrial Revolution 200 years ago. But this new prosperity that this new technology is going to bring about, who is going to have this prosperity? Is it going to be a shared prosperity? Is it going to be a prosperity for ordinary people, for ordinary citizens, or only for the rich companies and for the rich people? Who is on command of this new technological change? The people we have elected in our governments, or people who command strong and big companies, multinational companies, that try to avoid taxes in our countries? Four axes of big changes: geopolitical axis, an economic axis, an environmental axis, and a technological axis. How to respond, how to answer from a political point of view to these big changes underway? There are two wrong answers, according to my point of view. The one is an answer of just indignation. Remember, in 2010, this French thinker, Stéphane Hassel, with this book, Indignez-vous. But you indignate yourself, and what else? We just stop indignating? We just stop going to the public space and demonstrating against the things that are not going well in our way? Is this the right answer for a serious left, political left? Just the indignation. We have seen the last years lots of populist movements that start and stop indignating themselves, but not solving any of the problems we confront. Just denouncing the problems, but not solving the problems. The wrong answer from our political family. And there is also another wrong answer that Evi also mentioned in his speech, which is the answer of our nation is in danger. Nationalist approach, identity politics. One of the most appreciated members of the Socialist Catalan Party was Ernest Lluch. He was assassinated by ETA. He was a great political leader, but also a great thinker. And he brought to our knowledge the thinkings, the thoughts of an Hungarian political thinker, István Vivó. He studied the nationalism in the Eastern European countries. And he said that there is a powerful and dangerous political weapon, which is calling about the danger of a nation to disappear. We hear these days in Spain that Spain is on the brink of disappearing. The other day, Eva, 2 days ago in the Senate, some leaders of the right Spanish party said there are not going to be more Spaniards in some years. Be careful, Spain is on the brink of disappearing. But also Germany, also Catalonia is in danger. French is in danger. France is in danger. This is the danger of a nation to disappear is a powerful but a dangerous political tool. Because nations do not disappear, they change, they adapt to new realities. So two wrong answers, indignation and nationalism, and a right answer, according to my point of view, which is political compromise. Political compromise. This is why it's so important, the Congress you celebrate today, the Youth European Socialist Congress here in Barcelona. A compromise that needs to be a sustained compromise. We don't need a compromise of 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, or 1 year. We need a compromise sustained. This is not a compromise of cherry picking, what I like, of each political answer. This is a compromise that needs to be sustained and coherent with our history and our values. This is a compromise also that needs to be a collective compromise. Any serious political action needs to be a collective action. This is not an individual task, this is a collective task. And this is also a compromise that needs to be organized. This is why political organization matter, and matter a lot. We are not a group of friends that share some ideas. We are a political organizations, collective political organizations with shared values that are organized, that open discussions, we have open discussions, we debate, we confront different points of views, but we have a united action once the debate is closed. Organized compromise. And it's a compromise also of a set of values that we have built during our history that need to adapt to the present time, but a compromise with the set of values we represent. A compromise also for change, not also to denounce, but to change and solve problems and situations. So a compromise also to reach the responsibility to run the institutions. In democracies, the change is done through institutions, and a compromise on changing gradually the situations. We do not think that things are going to be solved in one day, 1 week, or 1 month, but we need time to change situations. So political compromise is the right answer, it's the needed answer at the present moment, at the difficult moment, the context we are doing politics in demands of us. This is what we intend to do also here in Catalonia and in Spain. We hope that soon President Sánchez is going to be re-elected as Prime Minister of Spain. He has done a great job. We are proud of the job done by the government of Pedro Sánchez, and we also think, we are convinced that Spanish people, and especially Catalan people, want a progressive government again led by Pedro Sánchez. And here in Catalonia also, we have gone through difficult times some years ago, very difficult times, but we are sure that it's time here in Catalonia to unite people, to think more on the citizens than on the nation, to think more on the needs of citizens, of specific citizens, than on the necessities of nations, to defend economic and social values of the Catalan people, and to do it under the rule of law and in the European framework. This is why we are very proud also, and I finish with this comment, with this saying, that Enric López is leading the Young European Socialists. Moltes felicitats, Enric. Estem orgullosos de la teva feina, de la teva trajectòria, i molt segurs de que faràs una gran tasca al front dels socialistes europeus. Orgull dels socialistes catalans. Moltíssimes gràcies.
Dear comrades, we have 2 Congress days behind us, where we as Congress chairs with Anna tried to act as professionally as it was possible. But now, please allow me to be a bit more emotional, and I would like to call to the stage a true socialist who has clear vision and plan for the Young European Socialists, who is apparently one of my best friends, a true ally, and as of today, also the president of YES, Enric López Jurado. The floor is yours.
Every night, a million hearts are breaking, but at least I know tonight I'm not the only one. Every time that you come close, I get shaky. All the feelings that I have, but we're never done. So can we do it all again? Oh, should I stay, should I go?
Dear comrades, dear friends, wow, what an honor it is to be here standing in front of you, and what a privilege it is to be elected as president of YES for the next 2 years. This is a huge responsibility that I promise to fulfill with the utmost respect, diligence, and commitment, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart for the trust that you have given me today. This is a very special moment, being elected to lead an organization that is very dear to my heart in my hometown. This city, which is a beacon of progress and a great example of policies that put the citizen at its heart, cannot be understood without the footprint of the socialist mayors that have led it in the past. Serra, Maragall, Clos, Areu, and now our incredible mayor, Jaume Collboni. It has been a pleasure for me to welcome all of you here, and I am truly convinced that Yes will always find a home in Barcelona. We have gathered here this weekend because we have something in common: our wish to be champions of progress, social justice, equality, and freedom for the youth of Europe. And there is no better instrument for that than the biggest political young organization in Europe, the Young European Socialists. I am immensely proud of this organization and of each of its members, and I am sure that together we can achieve the impossible. Because it is not easy being young nowadays. We are faced with a long list of challenges that in many occasions prevent us from building our projects of life as we want to at an early stage and as we deserve to. From inequalities to access to the labor market, from climate change to sexism and homophobia, from opportunities of receiving quality education to an extremely unaffordable housing market. The goal of Yes is to work to change that, to advocate for our rights, to propose solutions to the problems of our generation that are common all across the continent, from Finland to Spain, from Ireland to Turkey. Yes is here to have young people's backs. We will not fail them, and we will work together for building a fair, sustainable, and democratic future for all. Because young people do not deserve to be used as cheap and unpaid labor. And we will continue the incredible work that our now former president, Alicia Oms, has done in Yes, and will continue to do in the European Parliament. We will continue working to demand our governments and institutions more ambition in the fight against climate change. Climate change is the biggest threat to humankind today. It is particularly problematic for the future of young people, as the Fridays for Future demonstration have showed us all around the world. And it will soon constitute the main reason of global inequality. As my good friend David Lithoain explains in his latest book, Crimen Climatico, the consequences of climate change will be suffered in a very disproportionate way around the world. Those who are at the top % of our societies, those who contributed more to the climate crisis, are the ones who will be able to survive the crisis. It will be those at the bottom who will pay the price of a crisis that they contributed very little to. That is why fighting climate change is the ultimate socialist cause, and we will not cease to demand urgent action now. And the same way we want a livable planet, we want a decent roof to live under. Accessing affordable housing is almost impossible in any major European city today. Young people must dedicate more than half of their salaries to even afford sharing an apartment. This is not okay. We are in a housing emergency that requires European solutions. Europe has done it before and has gone above and beyond when in need. This is why today we urge to create a European facility for the promotion of housing so that we can invest common resources to massively build public homes for our youth and to allow us to develop our projects of life. And the same way, we want a livable planet and we want a livable house, we want a livable life. Mental health is the pandemic of our generation. Look around. We are all in the same room, but in every mind there is a world. You will never know if the people next to you are suffering from depression, struggling with addiction, or living with an eating disorder. I know it is uncomfortable to hear, but mental health has been silenced for too long. Our generation is no longer afraid to speak about it, and most importantly, to demand action. Because in our minds, this battle belongs to us, but in society, it belongs to everyone, and we demand the institutions to do their part and to put enough resources and ambition and a specific chapter on youth in the European Mental Health Plan. Dear comrades, we are at a turning point for Europe. The far-right and fascist forces are rising all over the continent and increasing the violence and threats against anyone who is different from their very narrow-minded vision of society, including women, people of color, and the LGBTIQ community. How many of us have suffered their insults or their violence for the sole reason of being different, loving someone, or just talking and expressing ourselves in a different way? We will not ask for permission for being queer. We will not apologize for being diverse, open, and proud of it. And I want to especially highlight that we will not tolerate the hate that fundamentalists and extremists want to throw against our trans siblings. We have a very clear message. We have a very clear message. Stop using our community to push your reactionary agenda. We will continue to fight the repulsive scourge that is violence against women and continue to scream "Ni una más" with our sisters and to defend the right of women to their own bodies. And we will continue to fight for a human approach to migration and asylum because no human being is illegal and nobody should die drowning in the sea in the quest for a better life. We will continue to fight for the voices of young people to be heard. We leave this Congress with a strong mandate to our mother parties and partners to work towards lowering voting age to 16. Young people want and must be able to have a say in what happens in their future, just as 5 countries will already do in the next European elections in June. As you see, this Congress is about this, fighting for our future. Young people, and especially progressive young people, are key in bringing actual change to societies. And the work that all of you are doing in your home countries is proof of that. The young socialists in France that are bringing the pro-European left back after 6 years of Macron neoliberalism. The young socialists in Portugal who have been the driving force in the country's almost 10 years of progressive government. The young socialists in Italy that were crucial in electing a young, progressive woman like Kelly Schlein as a leader. Who is the hope of all of us to put an end to the shameful government of Giorgia Meloni. The young socialists in the Balkans that will reach very soon their future in the European Union. The young people of Turkey who are fighting for protecting democracy in their country, the young people in Belarus who are fighting against a tyrant, and of course, the brave people of Ukraine, especially their youth, who have shown the most remarkable bravery in resisting and repelling the illegal and brutal Russian invasion, and deserve all our support and all our recognition. To our brave comrades here from Ukraine, we will support you and we will accompany you in your path into the European Union. As you see, our generation is not the generation that is stuck in the past or who lives the present in resignation. We learn from the lessons of the past, but we demand our right to write the pages of our future. And our generation condemns violence, terror, and senseless suffering wherever it comes from. Y antes de que termine, y de que podemos pasar a la parte más social que todos estáis esperando, permitirme unas palabras de agradecimiento porque es importante agradecer a las personas que nos acompañan en nuestras vidas. En primer lugar, a todos los trabajadores y voluntarios, al personal de esta casa y a los compañeros de actos, Óscar y Laura, que han hecho posible este Festival del Siglo XX. En segundo lugar, a mi organización y a mis compañeros de la JSC por apoyarme y por acompañarme en este camino. Y a mi partido y especialmente a nuestro primer secretario Salvador Illa por apostar por los jóvenes, empujarnos a asumir nuevos retos y responsabilidades y por no solo escuchar nuestras voces, sino tomarlas como propias. My team in Yes, my amazing Secretary General Sophie, I cannot think of a better partner in crime to do this adventure than you. My other Secretary General, Anna, I have learned so much from you. It has been a real privilege to work with someone so professional, diligent, and intelligent, and I am sure that we will continue to work together in the many years to come. To my President forever, Alicia, you are an extraordinary woman. Your strength, your capacity to overcome any difficulty and to do it with a smile is something that I truly admire. You have done a wonderful job, and I'm extremely honored to continue your legacy in this organization. Of course, to Roland, which I don't see because of architecture, who will always claim that I ignore him when we met for the first time 8 years ago in a Yes Congress, but has become someone essential in my life. You have been there for me every single time, and I fall short if I say that without you, anything of this would have happened. Thank you for being in my life, and thank you for a friendship that means the world to me. Mi familia de Bruselas, los amiguis que quieres del Crazy Circle y mis chicas piña, que gracias a vosotros y a vosotras la vida en esta ciudad no es gris, sino a todo color, y especialmente a una persona de esa familia que ha llenado tantos años de abrazos, de buen rollo, de sonrisas y de sabios e inteligentes consejos, que ahora ha volado a otra oficina en una nueva y merecida responsabilidad, pero que continúa alumbrando la vida de las personas que tiene a su alrededor. Laia, t'estimo molt. Y voy acabando, pero no puedo pasar sin darle las gracias a Javi López por la oportunidad que me brindó hace 7 años de trabajar con él como becario remunerado. Y no todo el mundo puede decir que tiene el privilegio de trabajar con alguien de quien aprende cada día, que le inspira y que sobre todo puede contar con su apoyo en todo momento. El privilegio no solo de trabajar juntos, sino de trabajar con un verdadero amigo. Mi mejor amigo, que ya lo habéis conocido y es en parte responsable que esté aquí porque ha participado de este congreso, y él tiene una frase que me encanta repetir, que es: uno viene a la JSC para cambiar el mundo y se queda por la gente que conoce. Albert, ho hem viscut tot i alhora ens queda tot per viure. Le doy todos los días gracias a la vida por habernos puesto en este camino y por continuar recorriéndolo juntos. Y Javi ha comentado antes la historia de Nou Barris, que es mi barrio, mi distrito, del cual yo me siento orgullosamente parte. Y hay 2 personas que son el ejemplo máximo de lo que es Nou Barris, y hay 2 personas a las que se lo debo absolutamente todo, que son mis padres. La mayoría de nosotros no estaríamos aquí sin el apoyo de nuestros padres. En mi caso, ellos no lo saben, pero mis padres son los responsables de que yo sea un convencido socialista. Crecí viendo a mi padre salir de casa todos los días a las 6 de la mañana y no volver hasta las 10. Y mi madre, junto a sus 2 hermanos, se quedó huérfana a los 15 años con 1000 pesetas en el banco. Ellos han renunciado a todos los privilegios que podían acceder para darnos a nuestra familia unas mejores oportunidades, y nos han querido tal y como somos, con nuestros muchos defectos y alguna virtud, pero gracias a ellos es por los que yo hoy estoy aquí y les quiero reconocer todo su trabajo. Comrades, compañeros, compañeras, hoy abrimos una nueva etapa en la YES, y abrimos una etapa para defender los derechos de los jóvenes en Europa y para que de aquí 2 años el mundo que dejemos sea un poquito mejor. Quiero acabar recordando la cita de Joan Raventós, fundador del PSC, que decía: el socialismo es la idea más joven del mundo. Sigamos siendo jóvenes para siempre, sigamos siendo socialistas para siempre. Tendréis a la YES siempre a vuestra disposición para juntos seguir luchando por nuestro futuro. ¡Viva el socialismo europeo y viva la YES!
¡Viva los pobres del mundo! En pie los estados
I feel like falling in love. I'm in the mood to fuck something up. I need some drink in my cup. Hey, I'm in the mood to fuck something up.